Brean Theme Park might not be the biggest park, but it is crammed with rides that enthusiasts will recognise, including some history from Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So is this a seaside stop worth visiting? Or should you skip it? Right, let's start with that bit of history then, shall we? Because this is one of the main reasons that I went to this park. I mean, it was in the area anyway, but I really wanted to get on this first ride. For those of you that don't know, they have a ride known as Astro Storm, which started its life in Blackpool Pleasure Beach as Space Invader. Now, that area still exists in Blackpool Pleasure Beach, but it is void. There is no ride in that building anymore. And I don't know if I experienced this one as a child or not. If I did, I have no recollection of it. So I was super keen to get on this. Now, before I went, I'd heard it described as Space Mountain from Temu. I mean, I can kind of understand why, because some of the theming is dated and cheesy, but I think that's kind of cool. I quite like it. So it's obviously supposed to be space themed. You're in these kind of rocket ship kind of trains, and there's astronauts and all sorts of things around. It's very good when you leave the station because there's kind of like a themed entrance into the ride as you go in. For a lot of the ride, it is pitch black. You cannot see a damn thing. I did take a POV. There's not a lot of it to see, to be honest. There's a few places where there's some lights and some kind of cotton wool clouds, if you will, or asteroids or whatever they're supposed to be. There's lots of kind of audio going on. Swooshing effects and, you know, like radio sort of like, hey, look out for this and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. And then at the very end you go into this kind of light tunnel and round back into the station. So it's definitely not the best themed attraction, which I didn't expect it to be, but it was a lot of fun and I did go on it a number of times. And I'm very glad to have got on it, and especially with that history and that tie-in back to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. So we're going to start strong and chuck this bad boy in the keep pile. Right, the next coaster we have is the Bulldog Coaster. I don't know if there's any meaning behind that other than it's got loads of kind of British flags, so British Bulldog, I guess, maybe. I described this as a travelling coaster. Now, it's not travelling insofar as it is permanently here, and I don't know if I'm quite true in saying this travelling coaster. It looks like the kind of frame that could easily be dismantled, shoved in the back of a lorry, moved somewhere else and rebuilt. Because it's not permanently attached to the ground, like there's no footers and stuff, it's just laid on a concrete slab and weighted down. It's an interesting thing. It had a little bit of a weather issue when we were there. You can say this for most coasters, they obviously have a limit to what they can operate in. Because I got on this coaster and the guy was like, oh, we need to wait for more people. So I dragged the missus on it. Carly didn't want to do it, but I brought her on. And as soon as she got on it, two others hopped on. So she could have not joined. It was alright. It certainly wasn't the most comfortable thing. Not painful by any stretch of the imagination, just a little bit sore in the old back. Maybe that's just an age thing. And the profiling was a bit, I mean, you're not expecting glass smooth on these coasters. It did its thing, right? And it's the only inverting coaster they've got there, so I'm going to be kind to it and put it in the keep pile. But it is borderline. Right, let's get onto their dark ride then, which their haunted house known as Terror Castle. I really enjoyed this. Carly did not. Carly thought it was a little bit on the terrifying side. It's not the scariest thing by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly a little bit more graphic and gruesome than your average ghost train. But at the same time, there was a young child who went on it again and again and again. So, you know, it's not like it's aimed at the older audience. It probably would terrify some of the younger children, let's be fair. But I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well done. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, yeah, I mean, no surprises. I'm going to check this one in the keep pile too. Right, so they got a flat ride here, which, I mean, it's called Orbitor. I'm not sure I recognise the model. It's kind of just one of those mental things that flips you around and spins you in lots of directions. And from off-ride, it looks insanely intense, and there was absolutely no chance I was dragging Carly on it. But I mean, I like a flat ride, I like an intense flat ride, so I was obviously going to do it. It was interesting. There's not very much that phases me at all. Very little phases me. However, I did notice on this one though that depending on where I kind of focused my eyes, it definitely felt more intense. Like if I was staring off into the sky, then I was totally fine. But if I was trying to like look at, because it's right next to Astro Storm, if I was trying to watch Astro Storm, because you're going so fast you can't really focus, yeah, that kind of screws with your head a little bit. But at the same time, it was kind of just fast for the sake of being fast. There wasn't really any forces, there wasn't any great feel. Like it didn't do anything. It was just spinning fast because it can. So yeah, I'll put it in take or leave it. Right, they've got a drop tower. It is probably more of a junior drop tower. Well, actually, I say that. It's probably kind of somewhere in the middle, right? It's not super kiddie. Like, I've just done a review for Creeley, and they've got an indoor drop tower for kids. It's more like a frog hopper. It's like that little tiny thing. Yeah, it's not that small, but it's also not a proper drop tower like, well, I know Launchpad's a short tower, not a drop tower, but it's not a big S&S thing. It's somewhere in the middle. And it was all right. I kind of enjoyed it. I was fortunate enough to get the view across the park. Now, I actually thought it was going to rotate. It didn't. I don't know if it ever does and it's just wasn't working that day, or if it's just straight up, straight down. I suspect it's the latter. But it was okay. The only thing with it, well, two things. It was a very long cycle, which I could say of a number of the attractions here, and I don't know if that is the norm or if it's just I was there on a quiet day and they went, we'll just leave you on this for 10 minutes. Because we were on there quite a long time, because every time it just go boing, 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 and then they take you back up again. Boing, 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 and then take you, and I was just like, oh my god, this is just getting repetitive now. When it was over though, it took about 5 minutes to park the damn thing. It just went down so slowly. So yeah, I'm going to put this one in take it or leave it, because it's all right, but I don't know. If they could fix the parking so it didn't take so long, great. And yeah, the cycle to me just dragged on too much. Right, we're halfway through this list, and as always, if you're enjoying this one, hit that like button to let me and YouTube know. In the last 2.5 years, we have grown such a large community of amazing like-minded people, and if you want to be part of it, hit that subscribe button. Right, so another flat ride that they've got there that is reasonably intense. They've got a KMG afterburner known as Wipeout. And I went on this at the end of the day. The park had given me permission to film, just so you know, typically they don't, but if you've got liability insurance, they may consider it. So I was allowed to film on ride, and my arm was killing me because I had the camera out in front of me, kind of doing a rider cam. And yeah, like, my arm's bothering me right now at the best of times, but this was just really quite forceful, which is good. It was a very forceful ride, and that, personally, I enjoyed that. It had a decent soundtrack to it. It was like a proper mishmash of all these tracks. Like, they didn't play for very long. You would get like 10 seconds and it moved to the next track. But towards the end, it just kept playing Wipeout. Wipeout. And it just kept going and going and going whilst it was trying to park. Frustratingly, I think there's like, what, maybe 5 or 6 sides to the ride. And the ride parked, and 3 of them, the restraints popped open and people got off. The one I was on did not, and the staff had to come and manually do it. And I'd noticed they did this previously, so it seems like it needs a little bit of maintenance. But I did enjoy it, so nonetheless, gotta chuck it in the keep pile. Right, they've got one of those rides, I don't know the model name, I always call them kind of like Crazy Frogs. And this one does have the frog standing in the middle, you know, with the top hat and the cane and stuff. It's the kind of bouncy ones. It's like the Ostrich Stampeder thing at Chessington. It's known as Bounce. I didn't know its name when it was there because I couldn't see it anywhere, but it's known as Bounce. And again, this is another one that I got a ridiculously long cycle on. Not to the point that I was like, this is enough now, please stop. So thankfully they kind of stopped before that happened. And it definitely was chucking me around, which again, I quite like a little bit of force on my flat rides. So for me, I'm going to keep this one as well. Right, go back to the coaster credits then, because they have one. So they've got Spinning Wild Mouse, known as Magic Mouse. And I went on it with Dean, who you may have seen, Dean Stokes, who's been doing the in the Guinness Book of Records for the most coasters in a week in a theme park or something like that. He did a ridiculous number of coasters. You'll recognise him. Anyway, the two of us went on this, and we were both filming POVs. And it's weird. I don't understand why the wild mice do this. They all do it. There may be a reason, and if you know it, I'd love you to tell me in the comments below. But basically, the first half of the ride, you are not spinning. You are just traversing the track. And then you get to a point, you can see it in the track, there's a little bit on the track that obviously hits the car and releases it, and then it starts spinning. Now, I don't know if, the only thing I could think is that, in my case, once it had released, my god, it was spinning. And potentially, if it spanned the whole way, some people might get sick and yeah, throw up. Although we did Raging Cajun at Six Flags America, which won't be there for much longer, it spanned the whole damn way and it was ridiculous. So I don't know if that's the reason, and if you know, please let me know. But yeah, it just felt like it could do with spinning a bit more. So I'm going to put this one in take it or leave it. Right, there's another credit. It's a wacky worm, Caterpillar Coaster. Now, I've just put a more grown-up coaster in take it or leave it, but I'm going to put this one in keep. And again, if you've watched this series long enough, you will know the reason for this. Because I'm a great believer that parks should have that junior coaster to introduce the kids. This is theirs, therefore it's getting kept. Right, going back to the flat rides then. And I mean, I'm gonna hold my hand up. I am terrible at the ride types from these, because they're more like traveling fair rides that just happen to be permanently located in this park. So they've got this one called Ultimate. Don't know the model name at all. You'll recognise it. It's the one that spins round and the cars swing out. This one goes round at a ridiculous pace. Like, Carly was filming me, and I put a little clip in the vlog, but you probably can't see me because I just go shoo, shoo, and I'm gone. So I kind of really enjoyed this one. The only criticism I had for this was that quite often on these, they will do part of the cycle forwards and then they will do part of the cycle backwards. This one did not go backwards, it just went forwards. And I think that would be a great addition if they could. I don't know if this model doesn't support it, or if they've just got a cycle that they've chosen to go forwards only, but if it can go backwards, as well as forwards, that'd be amazing. Nonetheless, still enjoyed it, and I'm going to put it in the keep pile. As is standard in a lot of parks, they have a pirate boat, imaginatively named Pirate Ship, and it was nothing special. Didn't go particularly high, it wasn't particularly large, didn't give me butterflies or anything like that, it just did its thing. Now, the day I was there, as well as Dean being there, Ben from Ride Comparisons was there, and I watched one of his clips. He went on it after me and a little kid threw up. So clearly for some people it was a bit more intense, but personally I wasn't that impressed with it. I do like a flat ride, I do like a pirate boat, but this one, I don't know, there's just something didn't click for me, so I'm gonna put it in take it or leave it. A ride that did click, and I was in hysterics, was their Twister ride. Now, Carly and I decided to go on this, and Carly chose to go on the outside. And I said to her, are you sure? Because, you know, physics, I will get pushed into you. And she was like, no you won't, you will stay on your own side, you'll hold on. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's exactly how this works. I didn't, because, you know, physics. So I was squishing Carly and the two of us were in hysterics. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great cycle, it was pretty intense, and I don't think I've laughed that much on a ride in a very long time. So 100%, this is going in that keep pile. Right over towards the back of the park, they've got a couple of things that are not included in the wristband. So if you don't know, free to enter park, wristband all day, or you get a fun card, buy some tokens, and you just, you know, use it on whatever ride you want. There are two things that aren't included. They have a go-karts, which I didn't experience, and a crazy golf, which I also didn't experience. But between the two of those things is a Waveswinger. And again, if you watch the channel long enough, you will know that I like a swinging ride. So yeah, it's a standard model, didn't do anything fancy, still enjoyed it, still gonna keep it. A ride I don't enjoy, and I was gonna do it because, you know, completeness. They had a roller disco. Theirs is called Jetspin. I didn't go on it though because on the day I was there it wasn't operating. Now the park did have a thing on some of the rides that said during busier periods we may operate these rides in rotation. Or was it during quieter periods? I'm not sure which. There are times where they may operate them in rotation, right? Cruelly did this when I was there. Obviously they've got a select number of staff, so certain rides will open, others will close, and then later on they'll switch it around. At first I thought that was the case. I thought, oh, maybe later on in the day this will open. And to be fair, that could have happened. I did leave at 3 o'clock because I had a massive drive home. So maybe in the last few hours it did open. I don't think it did though. And it is a roller disco, which I'm typically not a fan of. I'm not going to rate this one because I didn't experience it. I suspect it would go in the scrap pile though. And if you've been on it, then I'd love to know what you think. Right, so there's my ratings on the rides. Now there are obviously more that I haven't experienced. They've got dodgems and they've got a number of kids attractions and stuff, but I got on most of the big hitters. And there's more in the keep pile than anything else. So listen, it's a lovely little place. I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's very much out of my way, so it's not one I'm going to visit very frequently, unfortunately. But if you are in the area, I definitely would recommend going. If you haven't seen the video from that, I'll chuck it up here.